Hi everyone, Haley here from The Foiled Plan. If you are already a foiled friend, thank you for joining me again today, and if you're new here, welcome. I share a lot of different content on my channel. Things like design videos, Cricut crafts, foiling, dollar store DIYs, epoxy tumblers, unboxings, and pretty much anything related to running a small creative business. So if that sort of content interests you, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button to become a foiled friend and turn the notification bell on so you never miss an uploaded video. Now that you know a little bit more about my channel, let's jump into this design video. We are diving into episode 9 of this creative design series. If you are new here, I suggest starting back at episode 1 and progressing through the episodes to build on your knowledge. We have been working in the Procreate app on the iPad. This is an application that is only available on iOS devices. So if you don't have an iPad or that type of device, unfortunately, this program won't work for you. In recent weeks, we've started to jump into digital lettering, and today we're going to build on that. So what we're working on today is creating an ombre effect with our lettering, and I'm also going to show you how to add text. So first things first, let's learn how to add text. So if you head over and click on your actions menu, the 4th option down says add text. So go ahead and click add text. And immediately the word text is going to pop up, and it's just going to be in a generic font, which you can change later. So I'm going to turn my caps lock on, and your keyboard should immediately pop up so you can start typing. So this word here should be automatically highlighted. If it's not, you can just, so if it's just like this, you can just double tap on the word and it will highlight everything in that box. Some options pop up, but we're not going to worry about that for right now because we're just going to adjust what that text actually says. So I'm going to type in font, and I'm going to click on edit style. So this button over here that's blue. Within the font menu, you have options like style. So if you think about like word perfect, you have the option to italicize or bold a word or letters. You have similar options here. So if I click on regular, you can see the font changes. You can just sort of cycle through. And you can also change the font size. I'm going to go ahead and make it big. Now, if you make it big and it starts to text wrap around, there's these little nodes here, and if you just click and drag to make that box bigger, then your letters will end up all in the same line, and then you can continue to adjust. So I'm going to leave it like that. You have the option to change kerning. So if we start to move this, that adjusts how close the letters are. Then tracking. So you can't really tell anything is changing with the leading because there's only one line. You would be able to tell if there was 2 lines of font. Here, let me just show you what that looks like. So I'm going to make this smaller so you can see. So if we adjust the leading now, there you can see it's adjusting, and then baseline moves everything. So I don't play with those too often, but they are there in case you need them. And then also you can change the attributes. So again, if you think back to word perfect, you have the option to left, center, right, and justify your wording. And then also you can underline, just tap again to remove. And then this option here turns everything to an outline, which is definitely helpful depending on what you're working on. And then also, had I not written everything in capital letters, I could turn this button on, and then everything would turn to capital letters. And then if I turn it off, you can see everything has become lowercase letters. So I'm going to turn that back on, and I'm going to, there's this little button right here. It just is like a little picture of a keyboard. If you tap that, you can bring back your keyboard and adjust what you've written and then edit your style again because I want to make that big. And I am actually going to change my font altogether. So whatever fonts that you have preloaded onto your iPad are going to be the fonts that are available when you open this. And you can import other fonts as well, which I can show you in a later tutorial. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I am going to use one of my favorite block fonts, which is Impact. And everything is organized alphabetically as well. So there is Impact, and I'm going to turn off the outline. Okay, and I am going to click Done. And I'm just going to pinch because I like to see my whole canvas. And I want to actually center this on the whole canvas. So what I'm going to do is, we've learned this before, Actions, Canvas, turn the drawing guide on, and it should automatically be the 2D grid. Now I'm going to select using the selection tool. Now the little dancing ants are all around that item. And what I'm going to do is the middle node right here, I want that one to be in the very center of these grids. So I just have to work out, I believe that should be centered. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's good. So I'm going to turn the selection off. I am going to leave this as a text layer. Now you can tell this is a text layer because there's this little italicized A in the little preview of the layer. Now, if I knew that I wasn't going to make any more changes to this font and I wanted to distort it in any way, then what I would have to do is rasterize that font. So I don't need to do that for what I'm going to show you today, but I'm going to show you how to do it anyways. So if we click once on that and we hit rasterize, so that's one of the options that comes up. Now you can see the preview of that layer has changed to show you exactly what's on here. So it's no longer a text layer, so I can't click on that and then edit it. So it is what it is, there's no going back. I'm just going to undo that. So it says undo rasterize up at the top there. Now if we click, we can see it's back to being a text layer, which is perfect. And if you want to edit your text, you can simply click on that layer, and then about the middle of the way down, the options is edit text. Or if you're selected on that layer, so that layer is highlighted blue, and you just tap on that layer, then it will bring up your editing guide for the fonts. So either way, whatever you prefer. And I'm just going to make this as big as possible, so it's 1,000 points. I'm going to click done, and I need to readjust that again. And I'm going to put it in the middle of the page actually. And from here, even though in my font editing, that was the largest it could go, I still have the option to make it even bigger, and I always have that magnetics turned on when I'm resizing things. And I'm just going to leave it there. I think that's really going to allow us to see everything that we want to see. And I'm going to turn my drawing guide off just so there's no distractions. So now we've got this font here. Let's add some fun effects to it. So in the beginning of the video, I talked about adding an ombre effect. So if you're not sure what ombre means, it's basically when one color fades into another color or just fades to get lighter or darker. In order to get that effect, what we're going to do is create a new layer. So let's tap our layers, create a new layer above our text layer. I know it says that there's a layer here, and that's just because when you start a project, you always have layer 1, but anytime you create text, that creates a whole new layer for you. So that's why there's this random layer 1 that's empty. So we can even actually just delete that so we're not getting confused. All right, so we have this layer here. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick a few different colors. Actually, let's start out dark. Yeah. this dark sort of pinky magenta color. And what I'm going to do is change my brush. So in my brush library, I'm going to go to airbrushing and then select the soft brush. Mine is already selected because that's the last one I used in that library. I'm just going to tap on the screen and that goes away. And I'm going to adjust my brush size. And I think that should be good. And I'm going to make sure my opacity is at 100%. All right, so what I'm going to do is just color in a section all the way across, just like this. And I like to go all the way to the bottom so it fills the whole page. And then I'm just going to click on my colors and then select a lighter pink. And we're going to do the same thing again. And one last time. You can do this with as many colors as you like, but I'm just going to use 3 for this. All the way across and all the way up. Now the next step, because these lines are quite harsh, is we're going to blend them all together using a technique that we used in the last episode. So we're going to apply a Gaussian blur. So we're still on that same layer, and we're going to come over to the adjustments, click the second option down, Gaussian blur, and we're just going to slide to adjust until they're all blended into each other. So that looks really good to me. So we've got a nice ombre effect. And I'm going to tap off of that because I'm done using it. And now in order to get the letters to stand out with this, we're going to apply a clipping mask, which is also something that we learned in the last episode. So we're going to click on our layers tab. We're going to tap that layer that has the ombre colors on it, and we're going to click clipping mask. And instantly we have ombre letters. So anything that is below that layer, you can see with this little arrow here, is going to be using the layer above it as a mask. So it's quite an easy way to get some pretty funky letters. And you can do the same thing with hand lettering as well. So let's try another one together. So what I'm going to do, because these are together, is I am going to combine them down. So now I have a new group created. I'm just going to minimize that and then hide that group altogether. I've changed my color to black. I'm going over to the Actions menu, Add Text, and it's using the last font that I was currently using, Impact. Let's try something else. Let's try Varsity Team. All right, we're just going to make that larger. Make some adjustments there. I'm going to turn my canvas on so I can make sure that it's in the center. Now what we did the first time was do the drawing and then created the clipping mask. Let's create the clipping mask first. So we're going to add our layer and immediately we're going to make that a clipping mask. Now there's nothing on there yet, so obviously we're not going to really notice any difference. But if we have our brush selected, and let's go with, what do we want to use? Let's go with some teal colors. I like teal. All right, so we have that color selected, and I am going to do it on an angle this time. So let's start here. You'll see it slowly starting to show up, but only on the text. And that's again because this is already a clipping mask. If I was to turn off clipping mask, you can see where I was just drawing. I'm going to turn that back on and continue I'm going to choose lighter color now. Even lighter. Again, because these lines are pretty harsh, we're going to adjust that by applying a Gaussian blur. Perfect. Tap again to close that menu. You can see we have a nice ombre effect. And if we wanted to spice it up a little bit more, we can do what we learned in the last episode, and that is create a drop shadow. So what I'm going to do is duplicate that text layer, and I'm going to select it and just move it down slightly. And now you can really tell, because this gets really light here on the white backdrop, so it kind of breaks it up a little bit with having the drop shadow. We'll do it again one more time, and we take the bottom layer and we add that Gaussian blur, and that really makes it pop. Quick tip: if you are selected on one layer and you swipe right on all of the other parts that you want grouped with that layer, an option will come up here at the side that says group. You just go like that, and then now you have a new group. I'm going to turn that first one on, and I'm going to adjust so we can see both on the same layer, just because I think they turned out pretty snazzy. Cool. All right, so that is a basic rundown of how to add text to your Procreate drawings and how to create a super easy ombre effect. I hope you guys found this tutorial helpful. I am looking forward to the rest of this series. Like I said a million times, I'm having so much fun filming these tutorials, and I'm receiving awesome feedback. Seems like you guys are finding it pretty helpful, and that makes my little heart pretty happy. So thank you guys for watching my videos and supporting me as always. I have a new video coming out this Friday, and it's how to create a DIY budget-friendly glitter shelf organizer, and I'm really excited about that video too. So if that interests you, make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out on that video. Anyways, thank you guys so much. I hope you have an awesome week, and that's all I'm gonna say. Bye.